Welcome to the More Cheese Less Whiskers podcast. My name is Dean Jackson, and today I've got a guest, Malton. And I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name. He'll do it for you in the first 2 minutes. But Malton is in Louisville, Kentucky, and he and a doctor there have been having tremendous success helping people with chronic back and knee pain. And he's got some great opportunities in his business. We spent the entire hour and we touched on every single profit activator. He's already got a winning system that will turn people who are, invisible back pain candidates are people. That's an invisible prospect that we talk about. He's got a system that will get them to come to a workshop, bring them into his office, sign them up as patients for their treatment, and get tremendous success with that. So we talked about how to multiply the results that he's getting in his before unit. And I think you're really going to enjoy and get a lot out of this episode, especially if you're dealing with a prospect who is invisible. So enjoy this episode, and I'll do a little wrap up at the end. Malton
Schexneider, yes, it is me.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Well, I'm fantastic. I'm looking forward to hatching some evil schemes with you today.
Awesome. Well, I've been looking forward to this call for quite some time, and
it's been a while. We've got a lot of. There's a big. I think we could do these. I could do one every day for a long time. All the people that we have. But you know what? It's my favorite thing. It's like every time it's a new adventure, and we always come up with some great fun evil schemes. So I'm looking forward to this. So why don't you kind of set the stage? Tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do, and what kind of evil schemes we'd like to hatch today.
Okay, great. Well, my name is Malton Schexneider. I am born and raised Cajun boy from South Louisiana that's living in Louisville, Kentucky now. I am a physical therapist of 34 years experience and a student of marketing probably for the last 20 years. Followed your path, Joe Polish, Abraham, Alex Mandosian, just a lot of these guys that I followed.
That's great. You're in the world there, right?
Yeah. And so I am currently working with a physician here in Louisville, and we are specializing in treating patients with back pain and osteoarthritic conditions of the knee. We provide medical and rehabilitation services for people who are suffering with back pain or osteoarthritis pain of the knee and are looking for a way to quickly and easily end their pain and prevent the problem from returning. And so I have been working with this doctor and basically introducing him to direct response marketing, because I really believe that in the healthcare fields, especially in my particular field of physical therapy, as well as with medical practitioners, if you want to remain in private practice, the way to do it is to go directly to the public. And I look around at how some of these physician offices and other rehabilitation practices are marketing themselves, and I just smile because I know we can do it better.
Mm-hmm. That's a good start, that you could do it better. What kind of success rate do you have? What can you do for people?
Well, let's just look at the back. That's kind of been my specialty my entire career. It's what I was known for. and what I have studied over the years. And basically, I'm getting about an 85 to 90% improvement with people's pain levels, and we measure that by at least a 50% reduction in their pain. And what we're seeing with what the doc is doing with the knees, we're pretty much on par with that as well. About a 92% success rate, based on a 50% reduction in pain levels with what he's doing.
So that 50%, I mean, you think and say, well, you're not totally getting rid of the pain, but in a world where somebody's living with chronic back pain that's debilitating, 50% reduction to get it to where it's nagging would probably be a godsend, right?
Yeah. I mean, if we can get people up and active and get them at least participating in their lives again, and basically managing their pain without drugs, then, it's a win-win for everybody.
Yes. And is this a surgical procedure, or is it a therapeutic procedure? How are you doing it?
Well, it's a combination of, it's not surgery. No. One of the first things patients ask, when they come in is, am I going to need surgery? And, my quick answer is probably not. In fact, if you talk to the surgeons, only about 10% of people, at least with back problems, ever require surgery. And on the other side of that, with the patients with the knee conditions, the surgeons want to get them into those total joint replacements. So what we have to offer is a program that helps patients either prolong or eliminate surgery of the knee. And on the back pain side, we've been able to drastically reduce the surgical intervention. And what I tell people is that if, in fact, you honestly do need back surgery, you're going to be a better candidate for back surgery, which means that your outcome is going to be so much better. And we have found that to be definitely true.
Perfect. So you got something great. Is it different than what all the other doctors are doing? Is it a unique kind of protocol or approach that you have, or is this something that there's people everywhere kind of doing the things that you're doing?
Well, if you broke it down and looked at the individual pieces of the puzzle, of how or the things that we do, the individual things that we do, I would say that everybody out there does at least some of those things. And what we've been able to do, and what I think is our magic sauce, is how we've combined them and sequenced them in the process. So, for the back pain folks, everybody has gone through rehabilitation or chiropractic or different things like that. And what I tell people is that, look, you've got a condition that you've tried to treat, and it's almost been like throwing a lot of stuff against the wall, hoping something sticks. We're going to back up a little bit, and we're going to take this and start eliminating variables. Now, I'm going to tell you right up front that I'm going to get you. What I tell people is that I'm going to either cure you or kill you, but I promise you I won't leave you the same. And I've never killed anybody.
Right.
So I give them hope. And with that hope, it comes encouragement to follow the plan that I put together. And it's not a very difficult plan. And what we've added to the element is that the physician that I work with is in the world of regenerative medicine, which is, you're going to start hearing a lot about that in the next few years.
I'm already hearing about it.
Yeah, and it is, the potential out there is tremendous. So we're combining a little bit of the regenerative things that he is doing with the rehabilitation and some external support devices that assist people with staying active and giving them the confidence to do more without the risk of hurting themselves further or, as they say, paying for it later. So once we combine all of that with our back pain program, we're starting to see the results very quickly.
And what does quickly mean? How long does it take for somebody to get that 50% reduction?
Within about 4 weeks.
Okay. And is it, when you're saying like 85 or 90% success rate, you're getting people to 50%, what percent are you getting to no pain or
that all depends. That all depends on the chronicity of the problem. If we get somebody early, like they hurt their back within the last 4 to 6 weeks, and we get them in, then those statistics jump up to 90% pain-free.
Okay, so that's part of it. Is is catching, if you're moving into when somebody has acute onset back pain, you can catch that early. You can make that go away, but also stop it potentially from turning into chronic back pain.
That's correct.
Okay. Correct. All right. I get it. Now, how is the marketing for that working? How are you doing there? Where's what's your process, and where do you see the opportunity?
Well, I see the opportunity is going directly to the consumer, and I sent you a couple of, or I sent Lynn.
I got them.
Okay.
Yeah.
A couple of ads where we kind of carved out our target market. One ad is for the knee pain people, and one ad is for the back pain folks. Where that's all we're talking about in those ads. And the idea was to get them to a workshop, a free workshop where we go over our program, and then we get people to sign up. Now, the interesting thing between those two ads, as you look at those, one looks like news, and the other one looks like an ad, right?
Right.
And
absolutely, yeah. And by the way, I'll put these up on More Cheese Less Whiskers on this episode. So if people want to see what we're talking about here, I'll put that up in the notes for the show. So you can just go to morecheeselesswhiskers.com. Okay.
So the one that looked like a news article, that pulled 3 times as many people into that got them to call as the one for the knee.
Perfect. So I'll just describe it for people. It looks like a newspaper article, 3 columns, big headline at the top: how to get rid of back pain and sciatica almost immediately, even if everything else you have tried has failed. Free back pain and sciatica workshop reveals how to eliminate back pain and sciatica for good, all without surgery or painful injections. And then the article goes on to describe the workshop, a couple of testimonials there, and the call to action is call this number today to reserve your seat. Sponsored by Spine and Joint Pain or Spine and Joint Specialists and Louisville Body Works. Okay. So, how have you run this ad many times, or this was the first time?
We've only run it once at this point.
Okay. And so, what happened? How much did the ad cost?
That ad was like a half-page ad, and in the Louisville paper, it cost about $3,000 to run that.
Okay. So you ran the ad for $3,000, and you got how many people called?
We had 60 people that responded to the ad.
Okay. So that's right around $50 per response, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. And did they all come to the workshop?
We had 25 people sign up for the workshop, and there were several others that didn't come but ended up scheduling a consult after the fact anyway.
Okay, perfect. And then how many of those turned into patients? Or did you call them patients? Clients? What do you call them?
Patients.
Yeah.
Are those? Are you talking about the ones that came to the workshop?
Yeah, I want to connect the dots from the, Profit Activator 1, we selected the target market, people with back pain. Profit Activator 2, we're going to try and get them to identify themselves by running a half-page ad in the Louisville newspaper. And we got 60 people to raise their hand. Profit Activator 3, we're going to educate and motivate them at a workshop. So we had 20, did you say 20 people or 20, how many came to the workshop?
25.
25 people came to the workshop. Uh-huh.
And then of those, we got...
And then at the workshop, we made an offer.
Yes.
And what was the offer?
The offer was to, if you'd like to see if you would be a candidate for our program, we're offering a no-cost, no-obligation consultation with me to determine if you would be a candidate.
Okay. And how many people took you up on that?
12.
12 people took that. And then what happens when you do that? How many people end up becoming patients?
We had 100% conversion of the people that came in.
12. And then how much is the initial program that you take them through? How much do you charge for that?
So each patient is worth, if you combine the just the rehabilitation side and the back brace that we recommend, each patient has the potential of being worth $3,000.
Okay. So on the surface here, that looks like you spent $3,000 and have made $36,000. That's what it looks like on the surface. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think that's pretty close. Not everybody got a back brace because they didn't either qualify for the back brace or they didn't need it. It wasn't warranted.
What would you say? What's say the 90-day value of of these 12 people? Not lifetime value, but the first 90 days, say.
Well,
is that what you're saying? That all would be within the...
That's all within the 90 days, yes. Okay,
great. And so if not everybody qualifies for the brace, what would it be? It's either $3,000 or what would be the other?
$1,800
without the brace. Okay, so $1,800 to $3,000 is that's the value there. So worst case scenario, it's $20,000. So 20 to 36,000
Right.
is about what that works out. Okay. So are you excited about that?
Well, I would say that's a pretty decent return.
That's pretty good. I think people would be happy with that. So that's a pretty good vending machine there. Now, how long ago was this that you ran the ad?
We ran the ad in September.
Okay. And have you run it again?
No. And the reason why is that the doctor I work with doesn't like spending $3,000 on the ad.
Okay. Are you kidding me? Wow.
It just makes me want to run my head into the wall.
Okay. Well, that's kind of an interesting thing. Like, so right now, what you have though is that you have you've got a system, a vending machine right now that when you say, this is what I would like, if you put the label of what the button is that you're pushing there, it's called somebody with chronic back pain, an ideal candidate for us. That person, if we take 20 or 12, we take that $3,000 and we divide it by 12, then we come up with a cost per client of what? What would that be? I need to do my $3,000 divided by 12 is $250. Okay. Yeah. So there's the question, right? If you found a vending machine that you could put $250 in and push this button and $3,000 came out the other end, that would be a pretty good thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. That's an interesting thought that the doctor, have you gone through the math like this with him or?
Yes. But I think part of the problem is that in order to get this rate at the newspaper, we had to sign. They wanted us to sign a year contract, which would have been like $70,000 for the contract, and he's just kind of a young guy, not really thinking about the potential here, but
sure,
just looking at the $70,000, I'm committed to $70,000. What if it doesn't work? Type of thing.
Right. Well, part of the thing is that that's just to get that rate. How much more would the rack rate be, or remnant rate? I mean, that's the kind of thing where if you said to the newspaper, like, whenever you have space, we'll run this ad at this rate and let them run it whenever they can. But there's probably other places that you could run an ad like that too. Probably other newspapers, weekly newspaper, or it doesn't have to be that newspaper particular. But it's an interesting thought, right? That when you take that into consideration. Now, I want to just point out something, because it's working. What it is, what we haven't really talked about yet is this idea of potentially making a softer offer on the front end, meaning offering a book that somebody could get without having to commit to coming to a workshop right now. Just like you were saying, the ad that looks like an ad got X. The ad that looks like news got 3X, even though the offer was come to this workshop and they called a live phone number to respond, right?
Right.
And that is, I think if you made a softer offer of a book that somebody could get by calling a free recorded message, that you would get 3 times that number responding.
Okay.
And then invite those people to the workshop. Now, here's the other thing that isn't taken into account here. We're just talking about the immediate forward-only results here that you've gotten. But what you also have is you have how many people did you say responded? 60 people called. And
yes.
So you have the contact information, hopefully, of 60 people, and 25 of them came to the workshop. You said you've already been in contact with a few of the others, right?
Yes.
And so those people, if you look at it, that those people have back pain, and that's not going away. They may be trying other things. They may be doing something else. They may be living with it. It may be they've had a, let's call it remission, or they've had some relief or a cycle or something, but something's going to happen. And that over the next 12 months, let's say, even if you just extend the potential lifespan of their back pain, right? That if every month, if now in Profit Activator 3, you had some opportunity to, communicate with them, sending them a newsletter, sending them educational pieces, but all the while continuing to invite them to a workshop or to come into for a special consultation, which we can work on some words for. But that idea of extending the communication with these people, sorry about that, the ongoing value of these over the length of the next 12, 18, 24 months is tremendous. Now so what you've done, well, here's the thing that you've done is you're trying to attract an invisible prospect. And I often talk about the difference between visible and invisible prospects, right? Chiropractors, if they are your target audience, are visible prospects. If you've got something that can help chiropractors, homeowners, right, are visible prospects. But people with back pain are not visible prospects, right? You can't point to a list of them. Something that you don't know when somebody has all of a sudden tweaked their back in some way. So you have to be in front of people and get them to raise their hand and say, hey, I've got back pain, And so if you had a book that would allow people to investigate, because they're looking at all of their options. Anybody who's in any kind of pain, it's the first thing on their mind. I mean, I know I've had some back pain, but luckily it was just acute onset, and I got treatment, and I haven't had any problems with it. I don't have a chronic back problem, but I know that when I did twist it, and I did it golfing, that my back went into spasm, and I know that for the next several days, that was the center of my universe, Mm-hmm. And I imagine that people in pain like that, it's really completely on your mind. It seems like every nerve in my body was attached to that one spot, And yeah. So I would have, luckily I have a great chiropractor and massage therapist, and I was able to get treatments, and I get lots of massages now and keep it. I don't have a problem with it. But the person who's in chronic pain, they're you hit on it a little earlier that a lot of times they're kind of hopeless. They feel like, I'm going to be stuck with this forever, kind of thing. So somebody else coming and saying those words is a relief. I mean, you're right on track with the messaging. When you're saying to people how to get rid of back pain and sciatica almost immediately, even if everything else you tried has failed, you've got me, because you're saying there, right, that it's all amplifiers, right? How to get rid of back pain and sciatica. Yes. Almost immediately. That sounds great. Even if everything else you've tried has failed, this sounds like the answer. Now imagine if instead all of that stuff, instead of saying, call to reserve your seat for this workshop, which is probably, if I had back pain, my worst nightmare is to go and sit upright in a classroom environment to listen to the relief of that. It's almost like it's kind of, there's something a little ironic about that too. But if I could sit there in my, where I am kind of thing, and get this information as a book, then we're going to find that more people are going to more people are going to respond for that. See, what you're getting
basically
is,
so you're basically saying that the workshop becomes the cookies.
Yes, that's one of the cookies. Absolutely, because what I'm saying is that, let's say we look at this as a bullseye, okay? And the centermost bullseye of this is a person who loves everything you've said and has gone through all of the steps. They came in for the consultation. They came to the workshop ahead of that. They read your ad and responded, and they, on the outermost circle, received the Louisville newspaper, whatever it is, right? So they had to, if we look at it, the broadest concentric circle is that they are readers of the Louisville Journal. Is that what you called it? What's the newspaper?
Courier Journal, yeah.
The Courier Journal. Okay. So they're readers of the newspaper is the broadest thing. And maybe there's, a couple of 100,000 people, or however many that is, that the newspaper goes to. The next inner, take one subset of that would be all the people that have back pain, which would be a much smaller number than the total population, right?
Right.
So you got all the people, and not all the people are going to see the ad, but the people who see the ad who also have back pain was some number greater than 60. That's what I'm saying. Yes, that some number of people greater than 60 have back pain and saw that ad and were intrigued by the headline enough to read the article, but don't want to or are not available to come to a workshop about it, but would love the information if you offered it to them. So when you look at that, when you look at it, that the number of people that would have this back pain and love to get a book called How to Get Rid of Back Pain and Sciatica almost immediately, even if everything else you have tried has failed, that would be, you would find that probably 3 times as many people would respond. And the people who would come to a workshop are a subset of that group. So you would still get the people who would come to the workshop, but you would also get you'd get 150, let's say, people who respond to that ad. And now you've got a list of visible prospects that if we look at their value over the next 12 to 24 months, that goes up,
Right.
So because you're looking at, and the good news is you've got something that works because you've got an audience that wants it. You've got a mechanism in place to deliver it. And that's evidenced by 100% of the people that come in and sit down with you convert to being clients. And half the people that came to the workshop, so so there's a lot of value there,
So I'm as you're talking, I'm thinking about the ad that you ran in Success Magazine for the email mastery deal.
Right.
Would you basically write an ad that drives people to a book?
Yes.
This is what you're saying. Is
That's
drive
exactly
people
what I'm saying.
To a book, and would you make it as long as this one is here? Because I could almost see it. My ad costs shrinking because I could shrink the size of the ad potentially.
Yeah, well, you want to experiment. The size of the ad is really the, what I measure more is the cost of the response, right? So It's not necessarily that if you ran that ad bigger that you would get twice as much response because you haven't added anything to it. And that's also saying, there's a certain point that if you ran that ad half the size of that one, that doesn't mean that necessarily you would get half the response either. You kind of optimize it. What are the actual dimensions of this? Is this how big is this newspaper? Is it a broadsheet or a tabloid?
What's the difference?
Okay, so a broadsheet is a newspaper that is folded twice. So you fold it open and then you open it up. Bigger pages. A tabloid is just turns once. It's more tall and rectangular compared to the broader newspaper.
I'm going to guess that it's a tabloid then. It's
okay,
got the fold, and then you open the fold, and then you just start turning pages.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay, so like a magazine, but a bigger size. Okay, and so would it be? I think that there's potentially, you may be able to do an experiment with some smaller sizes there. But listen, you're already running it at a 10 or 12 to 1, so it makes the ad doesn't owe you anything right now,
Right.
You're ahead of the game on that. So I would definitely look at doing that. And if instead of, if you took the language of this ad and you took the kind of information that you share at the workshop and turned that into a book, that would be a win, So I think it's like, I think if you had a book called Relief as the big title, and then that subhead, how to get rid of back pain and sciatica almost immediately, even if everything else you have tried has failed, that's a big, that would be a win.
Okay.
And
I like that.
Yeah. So part of that is that now, and so that's always one of my winning formulas there is, especially with invisible prospects, let's get this list. Now you've got, imagine if you ran that ad and you've got 150 people
who, because they asked for a book called Relief, and that's always one of the great things about a book title, is the book title is really like, if you can get it to where the title of the book is magically speaking to the person that you're trying to attract, that they feel like just having or touching this book is going to give them what they want. You know, it's like Dave Ramsey's book, Financial Peace. Somebody's in financial turmoil. Just holding a book called Financial Peace lowers your blood pressure, right? And so if there's a book called Relief and how to get rid of back pain and sciatica almost immediately, even if everything else you tried has failed, if there's a book called that and I'm in back pain, how would I not want to get that book?
Right. I see
How
that.
would I not want to get that even if I know someone who's in back pain? There's so many wonderful things there, you know. And by the way, so this is the whole point about, you know, right now, even just me saying this to you and describing it, you know that having a book like that would be a winner, that somebody would want that, right? Now, if that, and you've heard me talk, I'm sure, about the 90-minute book and that whole idea of creating just a small book that's because 90% of the success of this book is that title.
Right.
And the fact that you're offering it, you know. Now that allows us to now focus in Profit Activator 3 on all of the engagement with those people. We're able to now build a list, get the attention of people who have that situation. You know, we did exactly that with Luba Winter with the adult acne cure. You know, she has a $900 device that helps get rid of adult acne. It combines red and blue LED lights with the galvanic and ultrasonic waves, and it's proven to be much more effective than just the topical treatments. And but it's a educational sale. You know, nobody's ever heard of that kind of a device. But we know, and again, people with adult acne, that's an invisible prospect. So offering a book called The Adult Acne Cure, that seems like the magic formula for somebody who's got that. We just want to set a context for the conversation.
Right.
Now,
yeah,
the other things... Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say the same thing could be done for the knee conditions.
Of course it could be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a model that's proven. You know, I mean, I've seen lots of examples. I mean, we do the same thing in real estate. You know, people will often do home buyer workshops or home seller workshops, but they don't perform as well as offering a book. We've been doing the same thing even this year with Social Security, with financial advisors doing that's one of the go-to strategies of the financial advisors, is to send out these wedding invitation type of direct mail pieces, inviting people to Ruth's Chris for a Social Security workshop, and they get 0.5, 0.6% response on the mailing. And so we come along and are doing postcard mailing, less expensive mailing to the same list, and getting 2 and 3% response rates. Wow. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it makes a big difference.
So I know that when we ran this ad for both cases, the knee ad and the back pain ad,
Mm-hmm.
that there were a good bit of people that did, because we always ask for their email address. They would call into a call center, and we have a script that of information that we wanted, and there was a good percentage of people that did not have email addresses. How would you handle that? Just mail the book to them?
I would say yes. Only in Kentucky that could be true. Only. Are you telling me? You're just like playing directly into the the backwards nature. That's so funny, isn't it? I mean, but that's I don't know whether they didn't have an email address or didn't want to give you their email address or whatever,
Well, that may be the case, but it is an older population, especially for the
I gotcha.
Condition.
Yeah, that's fine. And I like to get their mailing address anyway. I mean, the exact message that we use on the recorded message is, and we're doing the same thing with Social Security, right? I've been experimenting with offering the website and a recorded message or just the recorded message. And in certain age groups, just the recorded message works better. And I think that same thing might be true for this group. So we just have a recorded message that says, thanks for calling for the Social Security benefits guide. If you leave your name, mailing address, and email address, if you have one, we will mail out your Social Security guide today. That's it.
Okay.
That's what the message is, So the same thing. Thanks for calling for relief, and we'll definitely mail your book out today. That's all you need, So now you've got we just get them to leave their contact information. Now we can invite them as the next step to come to the workshop. Now you've got a pool of people that you can continually invite to the workshop if that's a great educational piece. How often do you do that?
We'd like to do them once a month.
Perfect. And that becomes a great referral tool. And that's what the book will be too, by the way, is that you've got the opportunity to, the book becomes a referral mechanism. Right? Like if we talk about, you've got such high success rate and people are so loving it, that I would definitely want to amplify your during unit and your after unit and look at how many of the people, and I don't know whether this is something that you measure right now, but how many of the people who go through treatment with you refer somebody else before the end of their treatment.
They always say, hey, I'd like you, I told my next door neighbor about you.
Right.
So we always get that, but we don't always get the necessary.
And now imagine if you said to them, now you're going through this, and of course you're going to start experiencing relief. It's always good to future pace what people are going to experience. And if you hear other people talking about their back pain relief, or other people in pain, just give me a call or text me and I'll get you a copy of my book to give to them. Now, now when they call you, then you can get the information on who their friend is and mail them the book.
Yeah, I like this. Yeah, this is really good.
But that should be a metric. That should be something that you're looking at. That one of your metrics should be for every patient that starts with us. It's starting right now, and you've got a 4 or 6 week treatment protocol that they go through. That part of your thing is how many people refer somebody before the end of this 4 weeks. That should be a express goal and measurement.
Okay. That's part of the return on relationship.
Well, that's part of your during unit. That's one of the strategic objectives in your during unit, right? Your core objective in the during unit is to get them the relief and do it in a way that they have a dream come true experience, right? And the strategic objective is that they refer somebody. That would be a natural next thing, you know?
Okay. All right.
And if you measure it, you pay attention to it and you measure it, and that could be a game changer for you too, you know?
So
and then certainly in your after unit, your after unit, your return on relationship, all the people who are in the family, is you want to treat that you're setting up this lifetime relationship of backs under management, that you're the incumbent back relief provider and insurer of these people, that if they're coming through this, it's not, hopefully they're going to go through this 4 to 6 weeks and it's going to do the job for them. But what are you doing to maintain a lifetime relationship with these people, and ensure that if they ever do have another acute onset type of thing, or it gets worse or it continues on, that they would come back to you, or continue with you,
right,
and feel like you're my back guy, right? It's like you're the incumbent relief dealer. And that's something valuable, and I think that those, especially with a relatively high in the scheme of things, client value, you've got, the opportunity that somebody who has back pain is probably going to have a high likelihood that they will continue to have back pain and have in the future back pain,
So the book is within Profit Activator number 2. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. That's what I'm saying could be your, just like you noticed the difference from the ad that looks like an ad to the ad that looks like news. Well, an ad that looks like news offering a workshop is going to underperform the same ad that looks like news offering a book.
Got it. And so Profit Activator 4 would be...
That's your cookies. That's your offer. Right.
And is Profit Activator, because I was a little confused on this, is Profit Activator 4 in the before or the during unit?
That's the gateway from the before to the during.
That's what I thought.
It's like the doorway, right? Yeah. So you're looking that you've got all of these people. As soon as they respond, the ideal is that they call, they come to the workshop, they set an appointment, you do the consultation, and they become a client. That can all happen very quickly. But It's also possible that they see the ad, they call for the book, they get invited to the workshop, they come to the workshop, they go through that whole process, or they get the book, they don't respond just yet, but you continue to send something each month to these people because now they're a high probability list. That's an asset. Mm-hmm. You're building this portfolio of a list of invisible prospects with self-reported back pain.
So even those people that did not come through anything, I realize that we drop them into some type of ongoing nurture sequence, right?
Yes. Yes.
And we're even thinking about doing a podcast.
Why not?
Enough, to attract these folks, but
sure.
in Profit Activator 8, where you're orchestrating referrals, and I sent you an example of what I'm thinking of putting together, I could send that to those people as well, couldn't I?
I'm not sure that I got what you were doing in Profit Activator 8. What I have is I have two ads. I have the knee pain ad, and I have the back pain ad for the workshop.
I actually sent two things to Lillian. First one was I did a play off of your postcard, your world's most interesting postcard.
Yes, perfect.
And I put something together like that, just a mock-up, just for you to take a look at. You know, you came from the Dan Kennedy camp years ago, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and
of course.
So I've always heard him talk about sending out a monthly newsletter to people, and that has a tremendous ROI, over the long haul. Just from a cost standpoint, the postcard seems to make more sense than a big newsletter.
Well, that's what this is the things that what I look for is I am a proponent of the minimum effective dose. And so I look at these things and I am constantly studying and experimenting and looking to what's the thing I can do to get the maximum response in Profit Activator 2. And so I've never seen anything get as high as a book. I mean, I look at the ads that you were talking about in Success Magazine getting a 68% opt-in rate from print ads like that, phenomenal. And then in the newsletter, I looked at driving it down, of the idea of what's the active ingredient here, right? Like, what's the result that I'm looking to get? If I could just mail something to them and the result happens, I looked at two things. Number one, that they recognize that it's me that's sending it to them. So I'm making that staying in front of them. Oh, there's Dean. And the second thing would be that they refer somebody, and
right.
I know that the whole principle, the whole idea behind the world's most interesting postcard is that looking at the logistics and the mechanics of how referrals happen, that all referrals happen as a result of conversation. And in that conversation, three things have to happen. They have to notice that the conversation's about back pain. They have to think about you, and they have to introduce you to that person. Now, if you don't have a mechanism that allows the way that somebody introduces you to that person to be that they call you and ask for your book to give to them, what's happening is they'll tell people about you, and they just say, oh, I tell everybody about you. But that's invisible to you.
Right.
You don't know, you don't have a chance to educate and motivate those people. They may or may not call you.
So even when those patients are in the office and say, I told my my neighbor about you, that's when I would just go to and pull out a copy of the book and hand it to them and say, give this to them.
Or pull out your notepad and say, what's their name and address, and I'll send them a copy of the book.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's what you want, right?
So the postcard that I put together was the Living Pain-Free postcard, useful tips for pain-free living.
Yes. Nice. Like it. Pain-free postcard is great.
Okay.
Yeah. So, part of the other thing too is like, you want to capitalize on those moments. If anybody says to you, and they're in your presence, that they are, that they have a neighbor or a friend or anybody, is you may even pull out your phone or their phone and shoot a selfie video with them and say, listen, John Dean tells me that you are having back pain. I'm going to give him a copy of my relief book to give you. And then in it, I'm going to put an invitation. We have a pain workshop coming up right here at the office next Thursday. And I invite you to come to that as well. I know we can help you. That kind of thing that makes, they're going to feel like an insider, your clients. Right. The reason that they refer is because it's like everybody wants to be the guy that has a guy. I got a guy right. for you. I got the guy. And the guy, I got the guy for you. We're like this. So much so that I could get him to shoot this selfie video with me,
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
you just want to really
to do something like that. So.
Of course you are, and that's something that I mean, that's the big difference. I mean, you've got, the great thing that you have right now is you've got a winning solution, and it's working. And I think that there's so much opportunity to multiply it.
Yeah.
Just little tweaks.
Yeah.
What's your takeaway?
Well, I like the idea of the book. I like the idea of, pacing it out a little bit, stepping it out a little bit, giving them a little bit more information and becoming that authority. That's what I keep telling the doctor. I said, our goal is to become the authority in this market for what we treat.
Yes.
That's what we want to become. And I think that the book lends itself to that.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And, talking about the minimum effective dose of a book, that's the whole point behind the 90-minute book. When you've got a title like that, relief, that's exactly what people want. They don't know or care whether the book is 50 pages or 250 pages. And that's why the 90-minute book is such a powerful tool. Yeah. It's the fastest, easiest way to get it done,
Right. I like it, man. I like it.
So there we go.
Good.
I think that's going to be a big win for you. Thank you for sharing. That was a fun evil scheme hatching session. You got such good stuff going on there.
Well, I appreciate your help through the process and helping me get clear.
Awesome. Cool. Well, let's stay connected. What I'd love to do is help you do that book and then report back on the difference between the workshop versus a softer offer in Profit Activator 2, because I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with how that works out.
Perfect. Hey, Dean, awesome. Have a great weekend, and I appreciate the time.
Thanks, Milton. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, boy. That was an action-packed episode. I am so excited for Malton. They've got so much opportunity. I mean, that idea of getting the bigger group of people who are reading that newspaper and have back pain to raise their hand, so that over a period of time, we have the opportunity to not only invite them to the next workshop, but the one after that, and the one after that, and the one after that. And we're not just missing out on the opportunities that to speak to somebody who, because they maybe weren't ready to come to a workshop or were not available for that, didn't respond to the ad. So I think that's going to make a big difference. I'll report on what happens when we execute something like that. Then the opportunity for referrals. That is such a great opportunity. And I think that having the book called Relief as a gift that somebody can give to anybody they hear or run into with back pain is going to be a game changer for these guys. Different than having people say, oh, I tell everybody about you. And I'm sure if you do a great job for people in whatever you do, the same thing is happening for you, that people are telling everybody about you. But unless they have a mechanism to let you know who they've told about you and a way for you to connect with those people and really help them get the relief or the benefit that you can provide for them, it's really, you're missing out, and they're missing out because they're not getting the benefit or the relief that you could provide for them. So this was a really great episode. We touched on every single one of the profit activators, and it's a really good amplification for you of another example of how the 8 profit activators could apply to your business. So if you want to continue the conversation, you can go to morecheeselesswhiskers.com. You can download a copy of the More Cheese Less Whiskers book. You can see the ads that Malton is running and that we were talking about in the episode. And right now, if you'd like to find out how your business, how the 8 profit activators are either growing or slowing your business right now, you can go to profitactivatorscore.com, and we have a scorecard where you can look and find yourself to find out where the big opportunities are for you, and maybe where the things are that you need to work on a little bit. So that's it. Oh, and if you want, by the way, to do a book like what we're talking about in this episode, you can go to 90minutebook.com and download a copy of the 90-minute book. And that'll show you exactly how we go through the process of helping entrepreneurs create books in just 90 minutes of your time. I've got a whole team of people standing by to do all of the heavy lifting on that. We'll do the brainstorming with you to help you get the content together. Then we'll do a wonderful interview with you where we will draw out all of the best content that you have. Then you're done, and we'll take it from there. We'll get it transcribed. We've got editors that will edit and take your words and turn them into really cleaned up version of what you are saying, that will take out some of the ums and ahs and all of that kind of thing, but get your message across. We've got designers who will work with you on creating a wonderful cover for your book. Then we'll lay it all out in a book format and submit it and publish it through Amazon for you. So all this, and we'll give you all kinds of marketing tools that you can use, including a landing page and some ads and postcards and business cards that you can use to generate leads with your book. So standing by, ready to help you whenever you're ready to get a book gone. So that's it for this week. Tune in next time and we'll hatch some more evil schemes.